For the pledge of allegiance.
Good evening, council, mayor, and audience. This is the City of Romulus City Council regular meeting, and today's date is Monday, July 3rd, 2017. And at this time, we're going to take roll call. We know that Kathy Abdo is absent. Councilman Barton,
Here.
Councilwoman Choate. Here. Councilman Kraut.
Here.
Councilwoman Makowski is absent. Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
And Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum. Tonight's council meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda. Number 2, minutes. Number 3, petitioner. Number 4 is the chairperson's report. 5 is the mayor's report. 6A, clerk's report. 6B, treasurer's report. 7 is public comment. 8, unfinished business. 9, new business. 10, communication. And number 11 is adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
Support. Motion by Mr. Kraut, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for approval of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Number 2 are the minutes. 2A, for approval are the minutes from the regular council meeting held on June 26, 2017.
I'll move for the minutes held on June 26, 2017 for the regular meeting.
I'll support that.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate. And this is for the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting, which is held June the 26th, 2017. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Abstain.
Chair votes yes, the motion is approved.
B, for approval are the minutes from the special meetings held on Monday, June 26, 2017. This was a closed session to discuss attorney opinion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for special meeting minutes held June 26, 2017 for a closed session, attorney opinion.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Kraut, for approval of the minutes. The special meeting held Monday, June the 26th, 2017, which was a closed session and attorney opinion. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Abstain.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
There are no petitioners on the agenda this evening. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Good evening, thank you, Madam Clerk. The chair is going to recognize Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. This past week, I didn't attend the last meeting. My wife and I were celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary, and I want to thank all the kindness that came back to us. But, you know, there's other folks in our town that celebrate 50th wedding anniversary, and I want to wish them well. But I'd like a resolution for 2 members of my church that this week are celebrating their 50th. And the first one is for Chris and Vivian Moe. It's 50 years of marriage.
So moved.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, for the motion for resolution. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, and motion is approved.
And the other couple from St. Aloysius that is also celebrating their 50th is Joe and Nina Azuk, celebrating 50 years of marriage.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, and motion is
And
approved.
to the, Mr. Barton, and to the clerk, I don't have the exact dates, but I'm sure that we can find them. I'll give you a copy of this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth. That's going to conclude the...
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
could I add one thing? I was going to do it later, but it
Okay.
fits with what Mr. Wadsworth said. This is just a proclamation, real simple. I just wanted to congratulate It says, I, Leroy D. Burcroft, Mayor and for the City of Romulus, want to congratulate Bill and Jean Wadsworth on 50 wonderful years of marriage, and may they be blessed with many more. And just a proclamation, as we typically do for people that hit 50 years, a huge milestone. We had some in the last week or so that were 50 and 60. So congratulations, Bill and Jean.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bill.
Now, if I'm good, I'll get to 51.
All right. No problem, Bill.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept your report.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, to accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Crowd?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, and thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Good evening, City Council, clerk, and audience. This quote I found actually came from Pope John Paul II. It goes as this: freedom consists not in doing what we'd like, but having the right to do what we ought. And I thought that was fitting. With that, tomorrow is 4th of July. City offices will be closed, but I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. And the old saying, freedom isn't free. You know, a lot of people gave their lives and served this country so that we can have the freedoms that we do. So keep that spirit in mind as you celebrate tomorrow. Thank you. We do have a short video, Roger, run on some of the events, so if we could show that, please.
Good evening. Here's what's coming up around Romulus. Our Romulus Farmers Market is steadily growing at the Downtown Historical Park Pavilion on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please come out to support our local vendors. There is a free movie in the park this Friday featuring the movie Lego Batman. The movie will begin at dusk or approximately 9:30 p.m. Concessions are available and costumes are encouraged. Bring your blankets and lawn chairs out to the Downtown Historical Park for a fun time for all ages. It's not too late to purchase your ticket for the Chamber's annual bus trip down to Comerica Park on Friday, July 14th. Tickets are only $40 and include your entry into the game, transportation to and from the stadium, and the fun and games along the way. For more information, call 734-893-0694. The Romulus Public Library has a whole host of programs, including Toddler Story Time on Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. Second Monday Book Club next Monday, July the 10th at 7 p.m. and a special summer reading program, Family Concert on Tuesday, July the 11th at 6 p.m. Save the date for our next Sounds in Downtown concert, which is Friday, July the 14th, featuring the band Cruising Jupiter with classic rock. Music begins at 7 p.m. at the Historical Park. One last reminder to have a safe and happy holiday tomorrow. Please note city offices will be closed for the day and there will be no curbside waste pickup on the 4th, with services resuming on Wednesday, July the 5th, with a one-day delay for waste pickup the rest of the week. For more information on any of these events, please remember to visit our website, romulusgov.com, or like us on Facebook. Thanks and have a great week.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Roger, for running that. One last note before our business. Just wanted to wish Mr. Crowd a happy birthday at the end of the week on the 9th. As you say to all those who have birthdays in July, but happy birthday, Harry.
Thank you.
Under my report, I do have a couple action items before council. The first one that you see is item A, and that's a request that came through Roberto Scapitici, Director of Public Works, and Steve Hitchcock, Legal Counsel. And this is a request to concur with the administration, adopt the attached resolution to file a petition on the Freeman Drain location on the property subject for the Project Mercury development. As part of this development, a portion of the Freeman Drain will be abandoned and the drain will be rerouted accordingly. This resolution allows Wayne County to conduct their public hearings to solicit public comment.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, for the Freeman Drain petition and the resolution to abandon the drain.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe. This is for the Project Mercury Freeman Drain petition and resolution to abandon the drain. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. Next, item B is a request that came from Lynn Conway, Purchasing Director, and Kathy Ritter, Assistant DPW Director. And this is a request to concur with the administration and award ITB bid 16/17-27 for 2-year fixed price on water hydrant and gate valves for the Water Division of the City of Romulus, Department of DPW, to the lowest and most responsive and responsible bidder, HD Supply Waterworks. These funds have been verified and budgeted and available out of the Water Fund Operating Supply Expense Account.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate?
I would like to make a motion that we concur with the administration and that we award this bid for a 2-year fixed pricing on water hydrant and gate valves for the Water Division of the City Department of Public Works, and award it to the lowest and most responsible and bidder, who is HD Supply Waterworks.
The motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut. This is for ITB 16/17-27, 2-year contract pricing for water hydrant and gate valves. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. And the last item is a request that came as a request through Lynn Conway, Purchasing Director, and Kathy Ritter, Assistant DPW Director, and that's a request to concur with the administration, award ITB 16/17-36 for a 1-year fixed pricing for water system parts for the Water Division of the City of Romulus DPW to the lowest, most responsive and responsible company, SLC Meter, and those funds have also been verified and budgeted and available out of the Water Fund Operating Supply Expense Account.
We'll move for 16/17-36 1-year pricing water systems parts.
Support.
The motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for ITB 16/17-36, 1-year pricing, water system parts. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. Line item 6A1 for second reading and final adoption is Appendix A, the zoning amendment 1.237. This zoning amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 26, 2017. This zoning amendment is conditionally rezoned 69.48 acres of property at 37350 Ecorse Road, parcel number 80-024-99-0005-703. And so it's being rezoned from an M2 General Industrial District to an MT Industrial Transportation.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I
Choate?
would be happy to make the motion that we grant second reading and final adoption to Appendix A, zoning amendment 1.237, to conditionally rezone the 69.48 acres of property at 37350 Ecorse Road from M2 General Industrial to MT Industrial Transportation.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for second reading, final adoption of Appendix A, zoning amendment 1.237. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
6A2 for second reading and final adoption is Budget Amendment 1617-28, the General Fund. This budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 26, 2017.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for second reading, final adoption of Budget Amendment 16-17-28, General Fund.
I'll support that.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, for second reading, final adoption of Budget Amendment 16/17-28, General Fund. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
And 6A3 for second reading and final adoption is Budget Amendment 1718-1 General Fund. And this budget amendment was introduced at the council meeting of June 26, 2017.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for second reading, final adoption of Budget Amendment 17/18-1.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut. Second reading and final adoption of Budget Amendment 17/17-1, General Fund. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
And the last item for action under the clerk's report is 6A4. This is a Board of Zoning Appeals reappointment, and this recommendation is coming from our city planner, Carol Mays, and she is recommending that Emery Long be reappointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals. His term expired on June 30th, 2017. The duration of the appointment is for 3 years, which will expire June 30th, 2020, and also for reappointment is Julie Allison, in which her term expired also on June 30th, 2017. And this is a reappointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and her duration is for 3 years, which will expire June 30th, 2020 also.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Roscoe. This is for the Board of Zoning Appeals reappointments. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
For your information, we have a letter from the Charter Township of Ypsilanti regarding an interlocal agreement, and then there's a letter from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And before I close out my report, just want to notify everyone that your absentee ballots were mailed out last Thursday and Friday, so I think everybody should have, that was on that list, should have received their absentee ballots. But I did have a call today and a concern, and so they asked, where's the rest of the ballot? Because they just saw the 2 items on the ballot. And so this is not a primary election, this is a special election. And there are only 2 items, proposal items on your ballot, and there are 2 school proposal items. And for information, you can always go on the website to obtain an absentee ballot. We have some available for the public in the back. And then for questions concerning the details of your proposal, please contact the Board of Education, and that's what they really want you to contact them if you have questions. So again, this is a special election. In November will be the general election, which will consist of, the local legislative body in November. So if you have any more questions, and if you would like an absentee ballot, and if you qualify, give us a call. Be glad to send you one. All right, so thank you, and we want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. And that concludes the clerk's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Our treasurer is not here this evening. And so number 7 is public comment, and this is a portion of our meeting that's set aside for those of you that are in the audience. If you would like to have comments, raise your hand, and after being acknowledged by our chairperson, approach the podium. We ask that you state your name, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Now, if you have in your comments a question or a concern that you would like addressed from the mayor or the council, please note that that will be addressed under unfinished business, so that you will be allowed to get all of your comments out within those 3 minutes. And we do have 2 requests, Mr. Chair. Our first request is coming from Charles Miller.
Charles Miller, St. Alice Street in Romulus.
Who is that?
Problem. 2 weeks ago, this city council said absolutely nothing when I was unprofessionally censored. It has moved me to expose the unholy alliance with this mayor to stop legitimate discourse. The meaning of discourse, the written or spoken communication or debate. It is designed to stop debate. The language of political discourse is a synonym meaning discussion, dialogue, and debate. Even though you were elected by the citizens to represent them, in this case, you have entered into a reckless and unholy alliance with this mayor to eliminate discourse or discussion by not answering questions under number 7, discussion, but having to wait for unfinished business, as the clerk has just said. When you no longer can speak to get an answer. In the course of history, despots, dictators, and authoritarian governments have used one-way communications to silence critics and adversaries. Part of Russia's dictator Joseph Stalin, his strategy was never to answer a question in the course of a debate, but to wait till the person could no longer talk. Then put his diabolical spin on the subject, being assured of no rebuttals. This is the unholy alliance I spoke of. Unholy meaning to emphasize an unreasonable and reckless action. This rule is strictly made to prevent this council from having you, citizens, given an answer that is both spontaneous and reliable. It is both tragic and incomprehensible that elected officials would agree to such a rule that limits the free flow of information and concerns. But that's why they agreed to such a destructive rule. It's time someone made a motion to change this rule so that people could freely ask you questions, and if they have more questions during the conversation, ask them too without having to wait. Thank you.
We have a second written request, and this is from Tony Heimberger.
Good evening, Tony Heimberger here on River Drive. I've been talking to Julie about something which I think is going to be a good idea, and I would like to see it get a resolution so our city starts doing this and it's on the books. I understand that our agenda is on the website. I understand it's on cable TV. No disrespect to either one of those. But people don't have time to go watch Channel 12 all day to wait for it to come through, because I mean, there's quite a bit of stuff there. Same with the website. It would be much easier, as we do with our mass emails for the flyers and so on, to, if people would like a copy of the city council agenda, BZA, and planning commission, have an email set up so that people would get them like on Fridays, they would get all of them, and it's done. That way the citizens are informed of what is coming before this council. So if they are curious, if they do want to come ask questions, they're allowed to. It would show a lot of transparency amongst this whole board. Thank you.
Mr. Barton? If I could.
Yeah, Mr. Wadsworth?
I guess we have to wait to unfinished business, but I think it's a good idea, what the gentleman said. I mean, if we put other things on there for flyers, I see no reason that the agenda for public hearings or council meetings couldn't be put on there. I don't think we have to do a resolution. It's something the administration can do.
I agree.
Is there any more public comment?
Yes, Ms. Talley, Tina Talley.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, Mayor, City Clerk, and audience out at large of the community. I wanted to share something my mom shared with me a couple of weeks ago, actually. I just wanted to share with you all today. Something I think that the council, the mayor, and the clerk do a very good job at. The Mayor Pro Tem, I think you guys do a great job with this, but I just wanted to share it anyway, just for the community at large. And it says, the rule that's golden. Don't be obsessed with getting your own advantage. Forget yourselves long enough to lend a helping hand. Philippians 2:4. Sometimes when we feel happy or generous, we find it easy to be kind. Other times when we are discouraged or tired, we can scarcely summon the energy to utter a single kind word. But God's commandment is clear. He intends that we make the conscious choice to treat others with kindness and respect, no matter our circumstances, no matter our emotions. Today, as you consider all the things that Christ has done in your life, honor him by following his commandment and obeying the golden rule. He expects no less. He deserves no less. The mark of a Christian is that he will walk the second mile and turn the other cheek. A wise man and woman gives the extra effort, all for the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ. John Maxwell. Today's prayer. Dear Lord, because I expect to be treated with kindness, let me be kind. Because I wish to be loved, let me love others. Because I need forgiveness, let me be merciful in all things. Lord, let me live by the golden rule every day. And I just want to say to all of you guys, I think you guys do a great job with it, with turning the other cheek when things may not, come your way. I just want to share that with our community at large and just bring up some positivity, and it's just a good thing to be kind. So, amen. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Talley. Any other comments from the audience? We'll close that part out, Madam Clerk.
Number 8 is unfinished business, and Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Mayor, this past week while I was gone, I got a few phone calls about a situation on River Oak. Are we working towards a solution for that?
Absolutely. The last council meetings, you recall, some residents came forward. We had a very productive meeting today. I know PD has been out, ordinance has been involved, building. You'll see some updates in your executive summary. So went very well today, and we're addressing the issues.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to address Mr. Heinberger's comment regarding the council agenda being emailed. We have in the past, there are those that have sent us a request that they would like the agenda emailed to them, and we have done that for some residents, and so it's just part of our routine. We just, as we're emailing out, they're part of our list, and I'd be glad to add Mr. Heinberger, but I do hear what you're saying by just making it available to everyone that's on our email. I know that we do have, an email, I think a roster for those residents that would like to get our newsletter and things, so we can, I'll coordinate with our chief of staff, and we can see what we can do about that. But we do have that, where we have some residents that they're just kind of on our list that we automatically will email the amend the agenda, the council agenda to them.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you have something?
Thank you. Just along that same line, we love to get information out ahead of time, so we email it out. I know we did get Mr. Heimberger's information this week. We're trying to, get the word out always we can. If it's the mobile app, the website, cable. If somebody has a preference, we'd like to know about it. If we can get the agenda or other information that's for the public about public meetings, it's in everybody's best interest, so we have no problem doing that. I'll make a short comment on the portion of and why we kind of do things with public comment, which is not public debate. It's there for everybody to have their fair 3 minutes, and having intelligent responses to come back to under unfinished, I think, is the best way for people to get information. And so here's what I would also say. Public comment and unfinished business shouldn't be the only way citizens get information. If they have information about normal business, if it's about tax bills, water bills, city services, during the day, that's a great time to contact City Hall, email, contact me, contact the clerk, the treasurer, whatever area it pertains to. Believe it or not, people here in government, we are trying to provide service and help. So coming to a meeting to grandstand is one way to get your message across. Contacting us directly and trying to get the facts is, to me, the best way to do it and the preferable way to do it. So we love doing that. That's what we do all day long, Mr. Chairman, and we're here to serve the public, and we love serving the public. So exhaust every avenue you have to get the information, and you'll find that government's actually pretty decent to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more unfinished business, then number 9 is new business. Number 10 is communication.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Roscoe and then Mr. Kraut.
I just want to wish everybody out there a very safe and happy 4th of July. and hope everyone's summer is going very well.
Mr. Kraut?
Oh, yeah. If you're celebrating a birthday in July, happy birthday and many more.
Thank you.
At number 11, again, we want to wish everybody happy 4th of July. Be safe. And number 11 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.